So cowboys and cowgirls, you heard what time it is, right? It's time for my review of the latest film in the Purge series, the Forever Purge. In this case, it may need to be called the Forgotten Purge, because it sure has forgotten where its roots were. Before we get into that review though, please do the normal YouTube stuff for me. Go ahead and like this video, give it the thumbs up. So please continue to support my growing channel. You can also continue to support me by subscribing to the channel. Then don't forget to hit the notification bell as soon as you leave, because you'll be the first to know when I post new videos. So let's saddle up and get ready for my hot take reaction to the Forever Purge. Let's go! So hey there guys and girls, I'm going to apologize in advance because there's not probably going to be many clips, if any, from the actual Forever Purge movie in this review. Universal keeps hitting me with copyright claims on my reaction videos for their films, and I just don't even feel like fighting with them anymore. Maybe one day I'll be a respected YouTube reviewer and it won't continue to happen, but until then, the Forever Purge is directed by Everardo Gout, I think I've heard his name pronounced. It was written and for the screen by James DeMonico, who was also the writer of each entry leading up to this in the entire franchise. And he also directed the very first 3 films in the series. The main stars of this movie are Ana de la Reguera, I think is how you pronounce her name, who most recently starred in Zack Snyder's Netflix movie, Army of the Dead. And she also stars in one of my favorite movies, Nacho Libre. She played Sister Encarnacion. She's even as lovely as ever in this, as I remember her back then. Josh Lucas is the other main character here. I don't know if you know that actor, but he starred in a film that I like, Poseidon, which was the remake of the Poseidon Adventure. Will Patton has a minor role in this film, and he shines as usual. He mostly plays supporting roles, and just like in Halloween 2018 that he starred, he's very underutilized, and should have played a bigger role in this movie. But we'll talk about more about him later. The basic concept of this story, though, centers around an organized group of lawless citizens who band together because they believe that the annual purge should not stop at the usual 7 a.m. deadline the next morning. Instead, they think it should never end because they want to try to cleanse America, and they want to continue it as the Forever Purge, a purge that never ends. So I'm a huge fan of the very first 2 Purge movies. I really like the third one as well. Not as good as the first 2. But I could already see in those films that during the series, they were starting to stray away from some of the core horror elements that really drew me to the franchise in the first place. I really loved the home invasion aspect of the first movie, but I did understand that there was much more going on under the surface than just your standard horror fare. I'm not silly. There was an underlying theme from the beginning about the class struggle in America and how things could have easily erupted into chaos by having it to where you eliminate crime in America by allowing a window of opportunity for anybody to just purge. Instead of featuring characters who were taking out their pent-up frustration or rage for just that one night, the films after the first couple started to feature more racial undertones. And that's not always a bad thing. But over the course of the last few films in the series, that major class struggle that was first presented has now evolved into a race struggle. To me, the stories just don't seem to hold up as well for a theme it's that strong. One of the main reasons for this, I think, comes to the forefront in this movie. The plot in this one is super paper thin, and the characters are not really well developed at the beginning. The writers really rely on racial stereotypes, I think, to drive the plot forward. And it's just a shame in this case. This is one of the main reasons that I did not like the last Purge film called The First Purge. I really didn't care for the characters, and I didn't really get emotionally invested in any of those characters. So the story just seemed weaker to me. Somewhere within this film series, it also seems like they got rid of the horror or scary elements and turned to more action thriller, which could be fine, but that's just not what I was expecting. There are some things to like about this film. The main character of Adela is a very strong female lead character, and she could have evolved into the movie's main hero if they had really tried to explore the backstory elements that were briefly heard during the movie. She has a mysterious background, which included fighting against the cartel in her home country of Mexico. But as soon as we found out some of these cool elements about her character, some of these details, they almost immediately dropped them and went on to the next scene for some reason, and then they're never brought back up again. The character of Dylan Tucker, played by Josh Lucas, is also very underdeveloped. Don't get me wrong, I understand what he's there for. He's obviously there to play a stereotypical white male who deep down probably has some racial tendencies. But I would have loved if they had played off more of this aspect even more in the movie. Why not have him have to learn the hard way that he really does need his Mexican quote-unquote friends, the ones that are traveling with him, more than they really needed him. And ironically enough, Dylan needs them to get him and his family across the Mexican border for safety. I would have also loved to see some tension maybe between Dylan and his wife, with her maybe often having to remind him how he needs to learn to damn accept others so that they can learn to live as one group of people together. But this sadly isn't the case. Adela's husband does confront Dylan at least once in an extremely short scene as they're trying to get away about his racism, but it kind of seems insignificant moving forward after that point. I just don't think they hammered it home. I would also have loved to see Will Patton's character play a bigger role. Like I said, he steals a lot of the scenes that he's in. I think he would have made a great counterpoint to his son when the shit actually hits the fan. He could have been more of his conscience, but sadly, like I said, that doesn't happen. There are a few other things that I also didn't like, as far as I really missed the main horror elements that made at least the first couple of films kind of seem fun, like a horror movie fun, I mean. Like the masks that people use to hide behind. Most of the time those masks are really creative and cool looking. They gave the killers like alternate personalities, or at least hid their true identity, and you got to look at maybe what their soul really looked like. You do get that a little bit in the first act of this film. There's some cool masks and cool killing attempts. Like some of those masks you even see on some of the character posters. But man, as soon as they get introduced, most of the characters take them off. These scenes are few and far between, so we really don't get to see some of those elements, like I said, from the first movie. This movie kind of turns into more of a survival movie where you've got killers chasing their prey, and our heroes have to hide or protect themselves and their family. Once the main bad guys, though, pull those masks off, some of the tension disappears. It's almost like once you know that they're just racially motivated, it's not as tense anymore. Look, I understand social commentary and its importance in films, and how it sometimes is awesome how creators of movies mesh the entertaining story along with thought-provoking messages of the injustices of the world. This has been done masterfully in the past, all the way back like George Romero in the Living Dead movies, or most recently Jordan Peele like in Get Out or Us. I love those movies. The social commentary was like an underlying theme, like I said. It was used effectively, but it was within a very interesting story. It was compelling, and it was awesomely used, like I said. The main difference in those films was I really cared about the characters as they built up those themes. Here, I'll just be honest, I didn't really give a shit about anybody other than maybe Adela and her husband. The social commentary isn't an underlying theme here either. It hits you over the head like a damn sledgehammer, and it constantly beats you over the head in almost every scene. Look, I heard that this was originally going to be the last Purge film when I watched some interviews, but then I just watched an interview with the main writer, and he said otherwise. So maybe the character of Adela should get her own film in this franchise, and maybe I'd be more interested this time. That strong female lead of a Mexican female, that would be awesome. There are things to like about the film, though, don't get me wrong. I did like this one much better than the last entry, the first Purge, but I really wasn't blown away by any means, though, and I don't think I'm going to recommend this to lovers of the first couple films like me. I'm not going to go so far to say this is hot garbage. Like I said, there are things to like, especially that Adela character. But it is a big, a big thumbs to the side for me. It's a good way to fill an entertaining 2 hours, but not much more. I don't know that I'm going to watch it that many times in the future. If I want to watch a Purge movie, I'm going to watch 1, 2, and 3. Do you like the direction of the franchise? Do you hope they make more, or do you hope this is the last one? Let me know in the comments below. Then do the normal YouTube stuff. Like this video. Please come back and support my channel by watching my videos, by subscribing. I'm so close to 400 subscribers. I really need to get there, so help me out with that if you can. Share this video, get the word out to, you know, to watch my channel. Then after you do that, make sure you hit the notification bell, because after you subscribe, you'll be the first to know when I post new videos. So I really appreciate the support you guys have been giving me, and I hope you like this review. And this is JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter, signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.